And we're working. Work, 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 work. All right, welcome back. Hope you're having a good day. This is one of my Ficus Microcarpa. A little bit about this tree. This was actually one of the cuttings I took in the spring break lockdown of March of 2020. Planted it. It was in a very small nursery container that was kind of breaking apart as it was. So I just had it sitting on the ground, and I let it get an escape route, and I was trying to grow these branches out and as thick as possible. And while I was doing that, I kind of just constantly cut the apex back in the hopes of spreading them out. Kind of got to a point where I realized I'd need a super wide pot for what it was I was shooting for. I was shooting for just a nice big Banyan look one day. And so I went ahead and repotted it in here. This pot I got from a lady that does some pots out on Sanibel. She used to always be at the plant sale at JC Park. I actually skipped it one year, and then the next year that I went, I didn't see her there, so I haven't seen her pots or anything for about 3 years. But that is who I got it from. I can't remember the name of her company or anything. She doesn't sell any online or anything like that. I did put it in this pot 3 years ago, and I haven't updated it for over a year now. I've got several theories as to what contributes to aerial roots in trees like this. And, you know, one is plenty of foliage. Two is basically living here in Florida. And then three would be being plenty pot bound. And with this only being in this pot for 3 years, once I cut all these leaves back, you'll see that this only really has maybe a couple little aerial roots coming out. I might even wind up rubbing them off as I kind of go around pruning everything. Some people disagree with me there, but that's just my theory. I'm sticking with it. And also I'd like to point out that this is September 1st. I know some of you guys are thinking about maybe pulling in your Ficus bonsai and things like that for the winter. Remember, I am in Florida. We still have highs in the 90s here. The lows haven't even got below 75 yet. So no worries, I'm even still going to do a little bit of repotting soon. Our growing season goes on through at least the beginning of November. It kind of slows down about mid-November or so. So this thing will recover no problem. I've even done a lot of work in November, and just kind of the trees will sit bare all winter, and they still recover in the spring for me. And obviously this thing is plenty healthy and can take any work I'm going to do. Once I do get started here, it's just a lot of thick foliage. I really don't want to stop and talk all that much. I think I'm just going to play a little music. One thing I do have though, I have this sitting on a cinder block, and these roots just kind of come down, and it even didn't go straight into some soil. Just these little white roots down here are in the soil. It actually hit another piece of a cinder block next to it and then traveled down and got to the soil there. So I'm going to nip those off. Alright, and that'll be just about it for the day. I do like how this pot is like a little uneven. This tree will never look like anything, you know, like an informal upright or anything like that. It'll always just have a Banyan look. So might as well have it in an odd looking pot too. One thing I did want to do today is I did tie this in. When I tied it in on the two trunks here, and at this point it's been in this pot for 3 years. Down here in Florida it really should be plenty pot bound by now. I'm going to go ahead and cut those off. You can even see it was cutting into that one a little bit. There was a time I tied in none of my trees. I did start seeing the value in it. But that is actually one of the reasons why I don't. I figure if I'd have had this tied in on the root ball, it'd then be cutting in on the root ball. And I think here in Florida especially, and with these tropical trees, I can go years between repotting. So I don't see the need to leave wire on like forever. Again, I should almost be able to pick this up. This pot is nice and heavy. I can pretty much just pick it up by the tree. I'm not going to, just I don't want it to break the kind of seal. There's no glaze on the inside of the pot, so some of these roots with the unglazed insides will kind of grip it a little bit, and I wouldn't want to break that. And then the second thing I just wanted to do, it'll be the last thing before I update you on another tree. I have been trying to hold on to videos and then just, you know, show you what this is going to look like in like a month or so. I've started using up all my disk space. I got a bunch of half projects on there, so I'm just going to post this today, but I'm going to just update you on a tree I did about 30 days ago that I just posted without waiting for the update too. And this tree I fully expect to look like that tree in about a month, so you can kind of see what I'm expecting. One last thing with this one, I have been noticing with these Microcarpas that when you have a chop like that, and you can see the bottom of it, especially right here, is just a good example of where it's turning black a little bit. That is just beginning to rot some. If I were to take and just kind of pluck at that with my fingers, that bark there is dead. There's no green there or anything. Like, you know, when they say like lightly scratch the bark with your fingers to see if it's alive, there's no green right there. But it makes sense because the leader's over here, and that's the only sap still flowing up, and there's plenty of room over here for that to flow, and it's not going to come around this way. You can even see where it's got this little branch coming out this way, and you can even see it's just got a little even bit of a bulge there, and that's kind of where it's not rotting down. If this tree was anywhere close to refinement or anything, I'd probably go ahead and try to just Dremel that out a little bit, but of course if it was close to refinement it wouldn't have that huge scar there. But I'm going to go ahead and just hit it with the knob cutters pretty aggressively here. And it should, you know, it should heal up over time. Again, like I said, that whole little chunk there is dead. I've got some like this with that black spot for flat cuts. I might have to think about dealing with those a little more aggressively through time too. And there we go. Just got down to some live stuff in there. I'm not going to do that here this time. I might do that next time, try to carve them back out evenly. I'm just going to see how that reacts. A little knot there. Just going to take that knot out. See how that reacts and see how it blends together. Like I said, I'll have to one day. I'm not going to right this second. Let me grab that other tree. And that would be this tree here. I did a video on this just short of a month ago, and that's how much it's already come out. I had to cut back to nothing in the video there. I need actually to start doing some of this to some of my trees. When I do that, sometimes I just let them grow unchecked for a while. But if you can see, this tree had a lot of energy built up, and it'll get all these clusters of growth coming straight down. And then when I don't do anything for a long time, it just becomes hard to get in there and see it. And I'd like to let some of these longer branches just kind of develop a little more instead of having to worry about cutting out all this unwanted growth. And if you just kind of compare the leaf size that this thing has now compared to that other tree at the beginning of this video, this will be what the what that one looks like in about a month's time. Don't expect any major change of weather. I mean, just like anywhere else, we do start getting less light, but it really doesn't start changing weather here at all until at least like mid-October. It'll be just stay hot till then. Not sure how I didn't catch this one when I did the herd prune. Some of these spots that grow the big leaves really quick, that'll always turn into just one of those long shoots. Alright, and looking pretty good. Let this go for the winter. Sometimes when I go out there I do some of that. A little bit easier if I have a tool with me and have it up someplace where I can work on it. I keep most of my material pretty low. That way when the storms come through, if they do happen to get knocked off, they don't have far to fall.